You left the bad blood on the court for the most part, but not with Laimbeer. You never really ever liked Laimbeer in any social situation.
No.
Yeah.
And it's because he was a dirty player.
Right.
Now, he had to do what he had to do. I understand that. But you take, like Ricky Mahorn, he'd hit you and all that, but he'd hit you, you know you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
But he didn't try to maim you.
Right.
Bill tried to hurt you.
Right.
And, he was one of them guys, you shoot a jumper, he'd try to slide his foot underneath your ankle so you twist your ankle. And that's why Parish
Did he really used to do that?
If you watch any of our old games, Parish was always twisting his ankle against the Pistons. So one time I shot a jumper and Laimbeer did it to me, and I stepped on his foot, but I stepped on a high and twist my ankle. I don't know, a quarter or two later, he was shooting that jumper. I slid mine on there. That's the last time he ever did it.
Really?
Yeah. But he was, he had to play the way he had to play, and we all understood that. But if you carry it too far, you carry it over the line, you got to protect yourself.
I'm on record saying that Bill Laimbeer of the Bad Boy Pistons is the dirtiest player in NBA history. This 6'10 center was a talented rebounder, enforcer, and even a solid stretch five. But more than anything, he was known for his tenacity and antics on the basketball court. It was bad enough that this was Laimbeer's reputation and actions on the court. But what made it even more aggravating to many spectators was the fact that he reveled in it. It was abundantly clear to everyone who watched him play that Laimbeer delighted in the fact that he was the supervillain of the NBA. The Bad Boy Pistons were hated league-wide for their physical defense that usually included many cheap shots. Although Isaiah Thomas was the face of the Pistons' offense, there's no question that Laimbeer was the one who was the face of the notorious defense. This devious persona earned him some wicked nicknames, like the Prince of Darkness, His Heinous, and Freddy, inspired by the horror-based character Freddy Krueger. Those were not the only unflattering names that he was called though. In 1989, after the Pistons had eliminated the Bulls from the playoffs for the second straight season, Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner of the Bulls, was very unhappy with the Detroit big man. Not only had Laimbeer brought his usual physicality and antics to the series, but early on in Game 6, he elbowed Scottie Pippen in the head, which resulted in a concussion and a trip to the hospital. That's when Jerry Reinsdorf expressed his frustration and said, "He's a thug. He's a gangster. He shouldn't be in the league." He was far from the only NBA owner who felt that way. But not only was Laimbeer not kicked out of the league, but in the Wild West of the 1980s, he was very rarely suspended. For 10 straight seasons from 1983 to 1992, he played in at least 81 of the 82 games in the regular season. At one point, he played in 685 straight games. And by modern standards, there were plenty of incidents that were worthy of suspension during that stretch, including most of the hits that you've witnessed in this video. The frustration was building for the Pistons' competitors. Many players had grown weary of being consistently victimized by this arrogant bully. And if the league wasn't going to step in and do something about it, then it seemed like it would only be a matter of time before a player did. This brings us to the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. Boston won the first two games in their building, so when Game 3 happened in Detroit, the Pistons were desperate to turn things around. Take a listen to how things unfolded.
And while their offense was clicking in Game 3, there was something else that did the most damage.
And now they have to separate Mahorn and McHale and Laimbeer.
Bill said, look, we got to go out there and set the tone.
Listen to this slap.
We may lose the game, but we ain't going to lose the fight.
I'd like to have a mental edge with their best player. That was Bird. And if you could break him, you could break their whole unit.
No, it goes to Bird in the corner. And we're starting to see the bang-bang stuff now. Rodman is all over Bird. He goes baseline, goes underneath. Dishes off now to Bird. And there is a violent knockdown by Laimbeer. Oh, my. A completely unnecessary foul by rolled Bird to the ground. He slammed him to the ground. The yellow, gutless way they do things here. Now Isaiah Thomas is coming over.
I could see I was already up in the air, and I was coming down, and I was going to hammer him.
And Laimbeer just takes him down.
And down we went. Oh, well, what happens?
Bird is gone. Laimbeer is gone.
In Game 4, the Bad Boys would maintain their level of physicality and took advantage of the shaken Celtics team. They tied up the series with an absolute beatdown, 145 to 119. Now the series was going back to Boston for Game 5. And this is when one of the Celtics players decided that enough was enough. Robert Parish, the 7'1" center who has a history in martial arts, decided to take some swings at Laimbeer and struck him in the face, not once, but twice. Now here's the craziest part about all of this. Although the whistle was blown and the action stopped, after careful consideration, Parish was not penalized in any way for these strikes. No ejection, no suspension, no technical foul, or even a common foul. The refs basically told Laimbeer to shake it off and resume the action. With such a lack of consequences for an obvious cheap shot, it kinda makes you wonder if the refs were indicating their own feelings about Laimbeer and his antics. Now the Celtics would go on to win the game in iconic fashion, thanks to the heroics of Larry Bird. They would also go on to win the series in the deciding 7th game, earning a trip to the NBA Finals for the 4th straight year. As for Bill Laimbeer, he wouldn't change his ways after the shot to the face. But at the very least, the players, and to a certain extent the referees, showed him that he could no longer get away with whatever he wanted without dealing with some kind of natural consequences of his own. It might have looked brutal, but ask any non-Detroit Pistons fans who was alive to see it, and they'll tell you that this was one of the most cathartic things they had ever seen on the basketball court.